Welcome back to Rhythm Connect. They say the youth are the key to unlocking a brighter future. But what will it take to spark that desire for change and drive action that lasts? Today, we are sitting down with a remarkable young woman whose dedication to supporting rural communities in India has helped many underserved people rewrite their circumstances through health, education, and upskilling initiatives. Pranati Panda, thank you for joining us on Rhythm Connect.
Thank you so much, Datanshri. It's an honor to be here, and I'm very, very excited to have a conversation with you. And I'm really looking forward to having a wonderful chat with you about social development, about all our different countries, about our experiences. And yes, I'm really excited to begin.
Yeah, I've heard a lot about you from your mother. So I'm quite excited to have this conversation as well. Let me just give an introduction so that everybody knows who you are. Pranati is a program director with Parinaama Development Foundation, an organization whose projects address the gender gap while dismantling the barriers to social and economic well-being. They are also a long-time Rhythm Foundation partner, and we've worked together on life-saving menstrual health and sustainable agricultural initiatives. My first question would be to you is that I want to ask your personal journey, but before that, because we've worked with Parinaama for more than 3 years now on various projects with your dynamic mother. And I've heard her personal journey and her struggles, and even on the personal family front as well, how they did not want her to do this, because like I said, people don't see it as something that that can also bring in financial benefits as well. Also the purpose and the emotional side to what you're doing and being that work being very fulfilling. And I've heard about you being Dr. Madhavi's daughter, and then I was also told that when you decided to come into the foundation and continue, at what today's trend of doing community work with your mom.
Yes.
I think she would have been very proud. Maybe some people would have had mixed emotions or mixed ideas of, why are you in this field? Maybe you can talk a little bit about what motivated you, why you wanted to follow in these footsteps, and what's your personal journey and how it all started, maybe.
Firstly, I think it's a lot of the cultural aspect, which comes from being in a family in India, that your parents do really influence you. So
Yes.
I would say the number one influence has to be her.
Yeah.
Because I was really young when she started. I think I was about 15 years old when she decided. I was 10 when she actually decided that she wants to do it. It took her about 5 years to actually jump into setting up her own organization.
Yeah.
So by that time, I was about 15 or 16 years old. And to see her begin at a point where there was no backing from any supporters, there were no donors present at that same time. The landscape in India was politically changing as well. Yeah. And to see her struggle for the first 7 years, struggle might not be the perfect word, but to see her start something from scratch, that in itself changed a lot of things for me. At the same time, I was not really convinced about the development sector. I saw her do the work, and it felt like a lot of hard work for me at that time to be a young child watching her mother really put so much of time and effort in it, and to not see the returns as well. It took us a really long time to get to where we are now. But I was really influenced at the same time to maybe there's something there I was trying to kind of understand and know what it is that I could contribute to and how I could contribute to. I then just did my management program. I decided that I want to pursue international management simply because I wanted to add something that was not there to the non-profit already. So my mom, she came with a lot of the development sector experience, and the entire team was also all of these grassroots workers who really work hard at the bottom level and who run the programs, who implement the programs. And so I thought that my skills in terms of management would be better and something that could add value to the organization. So that is how I began. And I also started going with her to all of these villages because she decided to take me along. And she was like, hey, summer holidays, you're not going to party. We're going to go to the villages. So I decided to join her, and just interactions with these community level people who I would have never had the exposure to if I wouldn't have joined her on this journey. And just interacting with them, seeing how they live, seeing the struggles, and also seeing a lot of people with intention, a lot of people who wanted to give back, a lot of people who had just did not have the right kind of support. And just to see that, I think changed a lot of things for me. So once I pursued my management program, I thought, okay, it was time to maybe explore this before I explore any other job or any other avenue. And I started, and I think I didn't stop.
Do you have moments that you regret, or do you think maybe, you could have pursued something else, something that is more maybe cool, maybe something that's more... Because the reason I'm asking is that the younger generation today, but I think they are the next up and coming to the workforce, and so I think a lot of them don't see it as something that cool, in terms of you go in there and you do community work, because I think they can't see, because it's all very monetary driven, for a lot of Gen Z's majority. I would not say that I blame them, because you do need the money, that financial freedom as well in order to survive in the world. But how do you bring that balance of, serving the community and uplifting these lives and giving them an opportunity, and, finding your own, your footprints and making that balance of you being financially sound. You know what I mean? When you go into this space of work, initially you're not going to get that kind of money, and they're not going to make that. What would your message be to the Gen Zs or the young people who want to do it? The heart is there, but like yesterday what they said, the mind and the heart in conflict, right? What would you tell them?
Well, I think the sector is really cool. Now that I've been in it for so many years, I can actually say that impact is fun. That is something that I do like to say. And I think it's a mindset change. Initially, I used to say it's a non-profit, and we used to say the word it's an NGO and all of it. I've recently started saying it's a for-purpose organization. And that is a mindset shift that I have tried to get the team to also get into, which is that we are trying to run it as an organization. I don't like to say that we are a non-profit where we don't need the money and we don't need the funds. But at the same time, once you start thinking of it with purpose and with the fact that this is also a company, I'd like to think of it as a company, but with actual impact that is real and visible, and that actually serves a lot of people, that has just made it really cool for me. And I don't think I have a message for Gen Z, but I want to say that everybody should try it out. Everybody should at least have the opportunity to volunteer. You should have the opportunity to meet these people, because unless you meet somebody who really needs your support, you don't understand this side of the world. And we've all lived in the urban cities. My friends, the closest people that I have, they're all doing something that's really getting them a lot of money. They're all in jobs, in big corporate jobs, in consulting, or setting up their own businesses, because they think that does add value. And it does. A business 100% does add value to society at large. But I always tell them that you need to explore this, or you need to explore the option of volunteering or doing some sort of non-profit work so that you can understand that this is also important and to understand this is also needed. And I think that has been why, that's the reason why a lot of people don't get into this sector, is because you don't have exposure. And right from schools also, we did have some sort of volunteering where we used to go to old age homes, or we used to spend one summer doing some non-profit work or joining as an intern. But I think that's not enough until you go to the ground and actually do something at the ground level. And once you're involved with these people, it's a complete change, and I think it just motivates a person to do much more than they would be doing. And it's not a calling for everybody. And again, I don't even say it's a calling actually. I just, everybody's not cut out to do this. And you're absolutely right that it's not really attractive as a job or as a profession. But at the same time, I think there'll be a lot more people who'd be interested if they had the opportunity and exposure to this.
So when, my time, when I was growing up as well, I think it's the trend that time was that you get into charity, that time it was just charity, my time when I was growing up. And they say you get into charity, you do things when you're a bit older and you have retired and you have all the time in the world, It got stuck in my mind, when I was in my 20s, and and I said, okay, we don't need to get into these things, because let's do it when we are like all done and dusted, and then but when you're older, you actually can't travel in the sense of unless you are healthy, you're physically fit and this and that, right? The norm is, by then, you've had your kids, then you have your grandkids, then you want to spend more time with your grandkids and things like that. So that trend has changed, because I always tell people that's gone. That train has left the station already. It's not coming back in any U-turn, because you don't wait. To me, I say that you start work in whichever way, like you said, when you're small, you go to the old folks home, or you go to children's homes, or you go and do something small in whichever way possible. It might be fun, you go and you play with these kids in the slum or something like that as well. At that point, we don't think as something that's making a difference or an impact to our life. Now, in your life, in your journey, is that going with your mother, to these various locations, being there, somehow, right, consciously or unconsciously, it has impacted you, isn't it?
Yes.
So, so you would say that's also plays a very big role in you wanting to come back and help these people, isn't it?
Correct.
So, because of course in Asian homes, they want us to be qualified, in something. Our time, I remember it as either you have to be a lawyer or an accountant or an engineer. I don't know if that has changed in India today. It's more like in the IT and AI field, and technology-wise, and it has evolved a lot today, right? So. So we're talking about technology today, and you talked about impact. And CSR, for me, even today, from what we began 20 over years ago and today, it has evolved. It's not like somebody comes and says, I need money to do something, and you just give that lump sum of money, and you walk away, and you think, okay, you don't need to know where the money has gone, what the money has done, how it has empowered or impacted. Where do you see us going? What is going to be the most effective way that we talked about impact? You talked about impact and also empowering lives. We are struggling today, as you know as well, you and us today. The work that we have done and finished, which is three years plus old, and we are talking about, okay, this is kind of a good time now for us to see that partnership, how it has benefited the communities. And we know we are going to have our struggles and our tribulations now, trying to now collecting data
Yes.
and moving forward, right?
Yes.
How do you see us more effectively kind of doing it from the start?
So I feel like now we have a lot of information and a lot of younger people who have access to this information. So there is social media, there is so many ways of getting to know about things and places in the world that earlier we didn't have exposure to. And that has really impacted a lot of people. That has changed a lot of things right at the rural level, because even somebody at a village now has a mobile phone that has access to videos. It's not just the QWERTY keypad phones that used to be there. Because yes, a lot of people don't know how to use it, but that is again the older generation. The younger generation has been quick to adapt, and even with whatever money they have, they are investing in buying a prepaid SIM, in buying some sort of data just to have access to, let's say, a YouTube or an Instagram or a Facebook. And this is at the most rural level that I can talk of, at the village level. And because they have so much of information, they also now know that there are many opportunities. They don't have to just be a doctor or an engineer anymore. I think the younger generation is now influenced to become a content creator, to become a YouTube star, and to do a lot of these alt professions that can get them money and that can be monetized. So it's no longer that there is pressure from the older generation, of course, because in a house you still do have to deal with family. And I think even for a YouTube star to tell the family that, hey, I'm going to be doing content creation for the rest of my life, is a very difficult
There's another one
conversation.
as well, right? They promote brands.
Yes.
What do you call them? That, like products.
It's a brand developer, just again content. It's all to do with content.
They're being very creative, aren't they?
They're being very creative. And I think that requires a lot of skill and a lot of effort.
It does.
It's not an easy job. It is the money is good, but it's a lot of effort to reach the number of people and to have that kind of following. And so every job does have its up and downs, and every role requires a lot of skill. So it's not something frivolous that I kind of think. I don't think of it as something frivolous. But just because now that they have so much exposure, at the same time they have the negative exposure as well. So I feel the future is a mixed bag of the good and bad, as it has been over the years. But now good and bad with a lot of technology and a lot of digital impact. And that is where I feel the future has to be, with something to do with digital literacy. That starts right at the bottom. That starts at the grassroots. And by literacy, I don't mean how to use a mobile phone, because they already are exposed to that, and they are learning, and they are able to, because now we have devices with all the languages as well. So it's not like they have to learn a particular language or English or anything to use a device. But just literacy in terms of using it effectively and using it for the right things. So that is something I do see with the youth, which is, everything to do with tech. Apart from that, I also see them, because they're being exposed to a lot of negative things as well, they have to have some sort of skills and vocational training for them that can maybe impact their life in a way where they can start earning better and just not being, and again, scrolling, becoming one of the people who just keep scrolling and not really interested to do anything else.
That has become an addiction, isn't it?
An addiction, yes.
Right? I'm also seeing in the Gen X, I'm seeing in the baby boomers, I'm seeing everyone doing that. It's also the good and the bad, because based on your scrolling or algorithms, is that what you call it? And then it picks and gives you. So it also depends on if you're looking at good things, if you're listening to good things, then you're going to see the good things, right? So if you're not going to, so I think ultimately also the choice is ours, is it not?
Yes.
Right? We can choose to anyway shut it and say, this is not the content I'm interested in. And you can do that as well. So you still, to some extent, we can control it.
Yes.
So I think that's where it's important, I think, for the youth to know, because there's so much today, right? I mean, I saw our newspapers today because of the AI. So I saw, like, they were saying, like, some of, like, in Malaysia, some of the ministers, like, they've got this videos, and they've created like fake videos, and they're sending it to them, and then they're asking them for, like, money and stuff like that, and then say otherwise they will use it. So this is where, everybody is talking about AI. I mean, and say, okay, it's going to take over the world. But it's also, I think, the human aspect is being lost there a bit. I mean, if you go through, I don't know how it's in India, but some of the airports that I have been through, there's no human beings anymore.
Yes.
You go and then you self-check in, you self-put the bags in, put your tags in, and you go, the machine is there, and you just put your boarding pass through, and then you go. That's also a machine on the other side, which you put your passport, and then it's do your face recognition, and you're gone.
Yes.
So I don't know. I mean, as your generation, for me, I need to see people. I come from that generation, so I don't know whether you guys are. I mean, I've seen the youth, like good friends will go to a restaurant and then they will sit there. But then everybody is on their phones and they're not talking. And even if ordering mean, they're not even looking at the guy. They just say, okay, and they're still on the phone. So I don't know if these things are good in terms of socializing, and because this is also very important in this work of community work. And, because for us, end of the day, still, we have to see people face to face, right? With the work that we are doing, our beneficiaries, you do want to sit in front of them. You want to hear their stories. You want to hear the struggles. You want to know, because otherwise we can't do our work.
I think.
So how do we get the balance there, you think?
I think the non-profits really have their work cut out now. I don't think there's going back from the tech advancements that we have. I do not think that the self-check-in is going to end anytime soon. And because again, it's to do with resources. So the fact that it's faster and a better, more efficient form, businesses will use better tech and faster tech, which means that there has to be more of a focus on education so that people don't get lost out and people don't lose the chances to maybe do better in life. So education is again a very big thing, that a very important sector that has to be focused on. Our project with Rhythm is also again back to the roots, foundational literacy, where we really want to target the kids right from ages 6 and above to keep them in the circle and keep them in the society, and just to go forward with the mentality that they have to adapt to the ever-changing environment. And again, so education is something that we can focus on. And right at the same time, because social media has now evolved, it also puts the non-profits at an advantage, because now their work can be shown around the world.
That's true.
And the storytelling aspect that you talked about, where we really want to hear people's stories, it's now a very easy way to show it. And the fact that non-profits have access to all of these people and their incredible stories, if just a video out gets the impact that they earlier were not able to get, and they weren't able to show the world about their needs and requirements and the success stories, and as well as the negative impacts of a lot of things. So I think non-profits are right now at an advantage in terms of the sector that can be focused on, and in the way that the work can be shown to the world. I think the digital advancement, there's no going back, but it can be used.
No going back. I think it's so, from what you're saying, it's more like us finding a balance, isn't it? I think we are also, the Rhythm Foundation as well, we are also now looking at technology and how to kind of embrace it in a way that is going to help us be more effective. For example, I think in the area of data collection, because it in the past, it has been very labor intense, as we all know. And it is not easy when we go to the ground level and you want to collect data. It just throws everything away, because it's very hard when we go down to the ground level. Talking to these people or collecting data. The person who's been there yesterday and benefited would have probably moved to the next village the following day with the family. And if we had him as part of the baseline, today he's no more part of the baseline. So, people don't understand sometimes. People think it's kind of, and especially our work is about when you are working with human beings. We are the most complicated and difficult creatures in this planet, right? I think any generation would agree to it. So when things are like that, so that's where we are looking and seeing, okay, how can we use technology to collect the data, you know, and also use that same platform, and whether the partners can access certain part of that, right, of the modules, and see, okay, from your end, whether you can put in the data for us, you know. So it's like a shared service in a way. So I think these are things that's going to help us, and I think we need to embrace it instead of saying, okay, this it's easier, maybe the manual collection and all that, which is not going to work, you know, moving forward, because it also means that there's somewhere that you can contribute. Instead of that, you're sitting there very labor intense and trying to collect data. So I think in a way we all have to come to embrace, because like you said, technology is here to stay. AI is here to stay. Whether I like it or not, I need to say, okay, this is the way moving forward. I mean, if it is going to benefit us, I think that should be the way. We have a volunteer development program in RYTHM, and it's honestly quite inspiring to see young people taking on the mantle of change maker, identifying persistent concerns and coming up with innovative ideas to solve them, because that's one of my ideas. And I said that we can't be the one doing the work all the time. I mean, it's not that we are getting any younger, you know. So I said, this is going to be the world. It's going to be for the future is with the young. Okay, so we started this program, you know, with the young people, and we realized they go out there. They just don't do work with just foundation. They go out there and also they give their time with other organizations and you know, work on the ground, and then they come back and they're actually very inspired, and they do this. So your role, I assume, involves you being a mentor and a leader for young people as well. What is your philosophy on leadership, and how do you empower others to take ownership of their own efforts in community development? You should be, right? I mean, if you're already in that space, I expect you will probably bring more younger people into Parinaama.
Yes.
Right?
We have actively been trying to involve more younger people. Also because the workforce has just become younger now. Like majority of the people around us are getting into leadership positions already, who are really young. And that is a very inspiring thing to see. Because earlier there was a lot, I think in the Asian cultural context, there was a lot of ageism, and you only could reach a certain level if you were a certain age. And so it is already very inspiring to see a lot of people take charge. A lot of people have the capacity or the ability to have an opinion and just speak it out and be really vocal about it. So now that we have these people, how do we really utilize their skills, and how do we really push them to do a greater impact is the question. And hence we have been doing a lot of leadership classes as well, where not just me personally talking, but we've been actively involving them in skill building sessions where they're being taught to not utilize their skills for the greater good, to take more charge, to do projects of their own. And we have seen really successful people come out of these projects as well. From the RYTHM project, we have the very lovely young Pratima, who was a part of our project in Bihar, from Yatmal Gola district, where she was just about, I think, in her 20s. I won't say she was really young, not like a student, but she was in her 20s, where she joined one of our soap making projects. And so she learned how to make soaps and sanitary napkins as well. And after the project ended, while the units continued at that point, she did not want to continue in that. But just because of that 2 years of training with us in this and being a part of the movement, a person who barely spoke few words, let's say, in the interaction that you would have with her, is now a panchayat leader. She contested the elections and she won, and she became a panchayat leader. Which
We
is
need stories like this.
Which is one of the most, it's unbelievable and unimaginable for us to even think that. When we found out, we were in shock, like, wow, Pratima, the person who barely spoke, has now come out to become a panchayat leader. And she's leading her entire village. She won the elections. She contested against other men, and she still won. Which is
amazing,
a very,
isn't
very
it?
inspiring story for, somebody who's just in her 20s to do something and achieve that feat. And so I think these are the kind of stories that this is the kind of impact that we can do in terms of leadership,
yes.
to just spend time with people, get to know their skills, and upskill them further, and to just bring them out of their shells. I think she just needed that push and that motivation to do something, and we were able to not even directly, it was an indirect result of our program. And that is like just an example of the story that can, an example of the people and their motivation and what they can conquer if they're given the right push.
Exactly. I always say that our community work, I mean, when we do all around the world, even in Malaysia, now we're even doing it with the indigenous community in Malaysia, and I say, my purpose is to make sure that they find their voice. They be the voice for their rights. You know what I'm saying? So it's even our Maharani program, which is for the girls, is that it's the same story. Like this girl that we have found, they come in and they don't know what's their life going to be tomorrow, But they come in and then they start working with us. They slowly start to break that shell, and when they come out. So we've had girls who from not speaking becoming the prefect in school, and wanting to and having and being hungry to stay in school and finish their studies. So these are the stories that we know that we are doing something right and we are in the right path, isn't it? And I mean, today we can see how the world is moving. I mean, could be the wrong way to do it. And, but having the right reasons of wanting to change the world, the Gen Zs, like in Indonesia and also in Nepal. And, the way it's gone, probably, no, violence is not the way. But the power is in your hands, to make that change. So we can use that energy to do right and to do the things that are positive. So we can get more Gen Zs who are stuck in their shell to come out and follow your footsteps.
Absolutely.
So thank you for your time today.
Thank you so much.
And I can see, because I did hear that you're a firebrand too, just like your mom. Dr. Madhavi looks quiet, but when you just do that click with her, and I remember having that conversation with her, and she actually, when she opened up and she talked about how sometimes your immediate family would not see what you want to do, and I think it was same for you as well. I think your father his father suddenly saw, okay, now my wife and now the daughter, but he was like left and right. Now he's like, I either go on this journey, otherwise they're going to leave me alone and I'm going to be all alone. So he's joined the bandwagon, right? But you need that support as well, I think, right? At some point, you need that family's support, and then everybody, they don't have to be in the same journey, but being there, supporting you, that gives you a lot of courage.
Right.
And I wish you all the best, and I hope we do more things with you between RYTHM Foundation and Parinaama. And you take India, we know we have a lot to do, we have a lot of lives to uplift and empower. And so in closing, tomorrow's leaders are already here, and we are excited to see how they'll create new opportunities and spark others to drive change. Thank you so much, Pranati, for sharing your thoughts and your time with us today. And for our listeners, I hope this conversation inspires you to break out of your comfort zone and discover the ways you can help reshape the world. This is your host, Umayal Eswaran, signing off from another stimulating conversation on Rhythm Connect.